6 months to a year since the last gameplay on the other side. So the interesting thing here is what are you going to get after all of this, right? And again, this is all speculation. Yuga typically, releases information and doesn't give you the full story. But again, this was yesterday. They released this. Now, this is quite interesting because you've got a Bored Ape standing over here, and then he gets a suit, and he becomes this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got a dog inside here, and I would imagine this is a coda. And so what I am thinking is that these assets are wearables. Obviously, that can then be used inside the other side when it gets there as your Bored Ape, but these are going to be wearables and not assets themselves. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I think it makes sense because I think Yuga doesn't want to dilute the ecosystem. Let's say there's going to be even further. Let's say there's going to be 25,000 sewer passes. Do they want another 25,000 NFTs floating around after this? Mm-hmm. Sorry, that's a hapebeast. It's a bird in South Africa. It's called a hapebeast.
Wait, are you serious? I thought that was your child.
Yeah. No. It's a hapebeast.
That was your kid running in trying to fuck with you. It's like, Dad, don't buy a 2 ETH NFT. That's going to be a gaming project. It's not going to go anywhere.
If one of my children came in, they would be welcome. I would stop talking. I would see what they need. They're such good kids. They would never disturb. They're sleeping. No, that's a hapebeast. And if you look in the middle over here, I will Google hapebeast after this. If you look in the middle, they've got these gold things. Now, I think that's the power sources. So I think what's going to happen, you're going to use your sewer pass. You're going to play, depending on your score, you're going to get a unique power source. Everyone's is different with unique rarity, and that will then be gamified and be turned into some form of wearable. The only question here is what happens if you don't have an ape and you're paying, and they've opened this up to everyone who has a sewer pass. Mm-hmm. Why are you going to want a wearable for an ape? So that throws my theory out the window. So not 100% sure, but then we also had Gordon tweet, the skill-based mint is just the start of this journey, and then retweeted this tweet over here.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, bro?
Dude, with Yuga, they're just so fucking risky. They've just spread themselves so thin. Like, I don't know where they're going. I don't know. They just don't have...
I think they do, bro. I think they know where they go.
They probably do. I just don't see it yet, and I haven't seen enough info and context to their people running the project to know what any of that is. Like right now, we're just following blind faith based on the narrative.
But that's how they've always done it, and they've always over-delivered, and they've always done it that way. So anyone that's ever been rewarded for holding Yuga knows that this is the way they do it, and they're not the type to get you excited and let you down.
True. I mean, they did it with other side. I mean, they got fucked on the other side, dude. Like, it's one of those things. Like, it's perfect until it just doesn't go right one time, and then everyone fucks. They're like, fuck this guy, fuck this project. I don't know. There might be too much money now in this ecosystem for it to go wrong. I don't know, man. I don't know.
This is really interesting. This tweet by Van Shorts. No idea who that is, but look at this. This is from what I just showed you, and on the right here is the 10K TF pass. That's part of the Wagmi shop. And there's definitely, look at the wings. There's definitely a similarity there. We know that 10KTF and Bored Ape Yacht Club have joined. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting. There's been a lot of speculation on what this key is going to get you. But yeah, it is interesting to see that they have, it does look unified to you. That does look similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
very
it does,
interesting.
Dude. It does. I think the reason this scares me is because it reminds me so much of Ugaverse. Ugaverse did this thing where they had their Genesis project. All these NFTs were in it. Everyone loved it. Their brand was strong, but they didn't do too much branding work, very much like Bored Ape Yacht Club. And it was going well until it wasn't. And then they dropped another project, basically the Mecha Apes, they were called. And it was essentially for the game. And they dropped this project. The game did really well for a little bit. And then it stopped doing well, and then people were like, "Wait, what the fuck is this?" And then it just literally crashed and has not ever come back. I think it scares me because I'm just like, where does this go? Like, what is the purpose of this sewer? I mean, unless it's just to have fun for a few months, you know. Like, I just don't.
I hear you so much. I really do. The difference is that Yuga is VC funded, has got a war chest of literally billions of dollars, and can deliver. Definitely can deliver. So here's where we at. We at the sewer pass stage. Then that's going to turn into an Evo 1. Then which is going to happen with the skill-based game. Then there's going to be another mini game, which is an Evo 2. And then if you don't have a kennel club, you're going to only go straight to minigame set 2. But I think you can bypass that if you combine it with the Bored Ape Kennel Club. So, bro, no one knows what the hell is happening, but it's got you and I talking about it. Sure. And if you look into the image, there's a lot more wording there. Make it bigger, look into it. We can speculate as much as we want. But definitely interesting, bro.
It is indeed interesting, and they're fucking storytellers, dude. They're fucking storytellers. Maybe the purpose of it is so that we don't know even close to what they want us to know, because they want to string us along. Like, almost like a TV, almost like a TV show. So it's actually, I never thought about it like that. You know what? Fuck it. I take back everything I've ever said about Yuga Labs. Yuga Labs is going to the fucking moon. I'm buying a Bored Ape today.
Look, if Yuga Labs goes to zero, the NFT space is pretty much dead.
You think so?
I do. I really do.
No more freestyle Fridays if Yuga goes to zero.
No, well, we can talk about how it's gone to zero and how much we miss, and we can reminisce and about the good old days when there were. The point is, I don't think it's possible. I really don't. I think they really have thought this out. They know the space well, and they always lead you on. There's always uncertainty. That's part of their thing. They have given quite a lot. I mean, if you go on their website under the FAQ section, there's a lot of information there. I've tried to summarize it for you to the best of my ability tonight. But there's a lot more there, and they have given you a lot more than they usually do. I mean, I remember with the other side, they didn't even have the FAQ on their website when the mint opened. Dude, you didn't know what was going on.
That was the worst, bro, when that happened. I was like, what is going on? They dropped the badge. The
other side to it, I was in Benjamin's spaces on Wednesday, and he really knows the Bored Ape Yacht Club Yuga ecosystem better than most people. I think he's one of the leading authorities on it. And when I was saying that my concern is dilution of supply further than it is at the moment, he said he looks at it differently. He looks at this as being the lower entry level into the ecosystem. So we're talking, let's just say 6 months down the line, everyone who partook in this game, whether they had a Bored Ape or not, they bought a sewer pass, they took part in this game, has now got a Yuga asset, and the floor price is, let's say, 1.5 to Ethereum. It allows a lot more people who really have always wanted to be a part of Yuga to get into it, and that even though there might be some small benefits to those holders, it's not going to be the same benefits like a Bored Ape gets or like a mutant gets. We even saw that with the dogs. The dogs by themselves, up until now, have not gotten any extra utility. They've only been sort of boosts if you already hold a mutant or a Bored Ape. So that was another perspective on it, is that, look, long-term, this is bullish for them, because in theory, as the market recovers, hopefully it does soon, and as things get better, those assets will go up. The Bored Apes, the mutants, and the kennel clubs will all get more unaffordable, and you need to have a lower entry level in the space. Otherwise, it becomes unaffordable for 99.9% instead of at the moment just being unaffordable for 95%. But hopefully after the surpass, it's only unaffordable for 65% of the market,
Yeah, man. Yeah. I don't have too much to say other than what I've said about Yuga, but I'm excited to be here, man. Now I've got a much more positive outlook, though, after you mentioned the fact that, like, maybe they're doing it, like, they're stringing you along like a TV show on purpose. I guess I did think about it like that, but I never intentionally thought about it like that. So now I do kind of have a different lens on it.
It's it keeps people interested, and as long as they time their news events correctly, every announcement we're seeing a pump. Like dogs were 6.9, now they're 7.9 because there's a picture of a dog in that picture that was dropped yesterday. So as long as they don't lose momentum, there is a risk of losing momentum, because even on the 8th of February, when this game is finished, there's still the other mini games and the other passes, and this is like a long process.
Yeah.
Now, anyone would say, look, unless you Yuga, that's not a great idea. People are going to lose interest. But if they can time it properly and do it right, it's interesting. I'm watching it. Interesting to watch.